Shalom, shalom.
Shalom,
Mr.
shalom.
Nobody and Mr. Fish.
Shalom, shalom. I do just want to talk about flat Earth again.
Mm-hmm.
I just mentioned it earlier. Then we get sidetracked. Next thing you know, we're on the moon.
Mm-hmm. I'm always on the moon, man.
Well, you know
That's
what I
where
mean.
I live.
We end up
In the clouds.
we end up on a moon topic, like a fake moon landing.
Like the craters, for instance, we were talking about earlier.
That's right.
So what was the video about with the craters?
It was just showing
Craters on the moon, that is.
right, the difference on the craters on the Earth versus the craters on the moon. Apparently, the ones on Earth can be measured at a deeper depth than the ones on the moon. The ones on the moon have a certain depth, let's say
Whatever,
30
right?
meters,
Yeah.
and that's the
They're all
30
the
meters
same.
will not go any deeper. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the moon's made of. I think I've heard some things about maybe platinum or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it.
Silver or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe
But
it's-
what's your theory on the Earth? The moon, as far as being a reflection of flat Earth? That video we watched, remember? As far as the flat Earth was a reflection on the moon, it has the exact same shape as a flat
okay,
Earth.
all right. We're going into it. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I just have this theory that when we look up at the moon at a full moon, and we see what we think are craters, or which are not, but it looks like a reflection of the Earth.
Flat Earth.
It looks like the continents.
Mm.
So I think it has something to do with that. Because I'm telling you, the waters are above the firmament. Now, if we're thinking about it, water reflects things.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a reflection somehow, So one of my biggest things, is we're chasing a ball of fire, right? That's what
the sun. Yeah.
Right, the sun. So that is what the heliocentric model is going to tell us that what we believe. Everyone believes this, apparently. They don't even know what it even means. They don't even know what they believe. So when it comes down to it, I look at the Bible and I say, here it says right here, the earth does not move. The sun revolves around the earth.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there to even think about if you believe in the Bible? So just the silly things that I was thinking about was what is the hottest flame on a fire?
You're blue, right?
Blue. So if the sun is a ball of fire, then dude, it would be blue.
As far as what we talk about on Earth, it would be blue.
So I don't believe that the sun is a fireball, basically. So I believe it is a light, and it could be the white light. But I definitely don't believe it's fire, because if it was fire, it'd be blue.
Isn't it interesting to me that it's called the sun?
Yes, big time.
Yeah.
I've thought about that a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Except it's just spelled differently.
Well,
The sun.
maybe now it is, but what if it was spelled the same back then?
Right.
He is the light. He talks about that all the time.
I know, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I think there's something with that, but I've never heard anybody else mention that except me or you.
Mm.
Have you?
With that being said, if it was something that was absolute BS, then why are they so avid on disproving it? Why do they care so much? And why do they put the flat Earth on the United Nations symbol?
No.
That's like just
So many
throwing
things.
it in our face.
So many things.
Mm.
So going back to the fireball, anyways, you have to have oxygen, right? To have fire. In space, there's no oxygen, correct?
So how is the fire?
So like that's why I would say like science turns into blah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought of why lightning echoes if it's not inside of a contained containment. Like there's no echoes unless there's a container.
Yeah, I know that's a flat Earth theory as far as lightning goes. That there's supposed to be, the echo that comes from it. Yeah.
I mean, you don't get that, and just the idea that we could be a round ball spinning around, and there's no water movement. There's no. The water has to be contained to have a level surface. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a lake. You know, we want to consider this the oceans, but let's take it down to lakes, and let's take it down to a glass of water.
You tilt a glass of water sideways, what happens?
It's level.
And also, you tilt it sideways, it's going to run out. So, like, if water is on a globe or a sphere, it doesn't make any sense how it's not just pouring.
That's why they throw this thing out there called atmosphere. Mm-hmm. You know? Oh, well, it's the atmosphere. Really? Well, the atmosphere doesn't do anything with friggin' helium.
I say you throw enough mathematics and enough numbers at something, and then you can distort anything. Because you can say, oh, well, you don't understand it because you don't know the math. I don't know the math. I'm not a mathematician, but I can look up, and I know that it doesn't make sense that it's a sphere.
Here's another thing too. You know how they're always trying to correct themselves with, you know, their lies that they tell you with NASA and everything else. For 1 mile, we should have an 8-inch drop.
For so.
Per 1 mile. So that math never adds up. But yes, going back to what you were talking to, if our eyes can only see so many miles until something disappears, and so that's what we get when we're looking at a sailboat in the distance in the horizon, you know, and it disappears. See, it's going over the curve, over the curve, and so that's an excuse. Until now, we're in the, you know, we have technology and we have optics, and those optics are going to bring those objects back into plain vision.
Speaking of the video that I'll put up here, but the video of the guy that originally did the flat Earth theory or whatever with the river, remember? And the boat going down the river, flat, right? So he has a flat plane and a river, and he watches the boat go away, and it doesn't, the mathematics don't add up. Just to come to a conclusion with most folks when you get to in theology or flat Earth or whatever, and you start arguing a topic, somebody gets upset at some point, and I usually say, well, all that matters is Jesus. Yahweh, not my way.
You know what the problem is? People aren't scared of God. That's the biggest problem, I think.
Here's a question for you. Here's your devil's advocate, right? God is perfect, right? And God is all-knowing, God is everything that you think he is. Then why would you fear him if he is like that? What's the point in fearing God? Why do you fear your own father, not your heavenly Father?
Because he's told you everything you're supposed to be doing in life, and he's tried to raise you to do the right things, and if you don't, you fear wrath.
You fear a spanking when you don't do right.
It is so easy to get sidetracked, bro.
Yeah. Fear of God is the beginning of knowledge.
All right, what did we come here to talk about? Flat Earth?
The firmament.
Firmaments.
Mm-hmm. So what's been on your mind lately with the firmaments?
Firmament? Golly. I guess how easy it is for people just to deny what that is. You know, I don't think that God makes mistakes. I don't think that he would have said that there was a firmament if there wasn't a firmament. You know, if space was the so-called, or an atmosphere, you know, I don't know what people...
I wouldn't say I'm technically a flat Earth theorist completely yet. I'm definitely on the fence. But one thing I will say is there are a lot more verses that lead you towards flat Earth in the Bible and in Enoch than there are that lead you to think that it's a sphere. And also, I need to actually read like a Hebrew version translated best way that it can, and see the word sphere in there to actually start getting back on that, because we were just talking about this in Bible study last night, how so many of the translations have changed a lot of words up, and it's not that the message is being lost. Jesus Christ's message is getting through, but I, especially on a topic this sensitive, I need to see a Hebrew translated, like original Greek, whatever you want to say it, like way back, saying the word sphere, you know?
Yeah, I wish I need to have more of a dictionary of these verses, because there are so many, you know, that you go back to the Greek.
It's really really worth starting like a notebook, and every time we catch a verse from whatever, we just write it in there.
I know, I highlighted my Bible, but then
they
again,
can't find
forget
it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, even in Ecclesiastes, I was reading this morning. Gosh, I wish I had my phone so I could remember the verse. What was it? What about the sun?
It's nothing new under the sun.
There's nothing new under the sun. So that just led me to think, well, if that's the case, you know, what does that say about flat Earth? Well, the sun is going around like a circuit, and it sees the same thing over and over. Now, if we were in an infinite space, the Earth is chasing the sun, so the sun is just infinitely hauling ass through space.
Space is infinite, and it keeps moving. Yeah, I forgot what the scientific word was for that I had studied, but right, if there's nothing new under the sun, then it wouldn't be seeing new space. Yeah, and space in general is wild to me, like the fact that you think that there's no ending point of something, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And then to think that there wasn't a creator, if that's true, that
that's the only reason that it was invented, the space and NASA.
I mean,
hide God.
Don't get me wrong, I get why people believe Big Bang, because it's constantly in your scientific books and everything, but I mean, we've had a few scientists lie to us in our time.
Yeah, right.
And the majority of scientists, I would say, are not Christians. And so, not that, there's plenty of scientists who are, but I'm saying the majority of them are not, because their theory on the beginning of everything removes God away from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of them. The Big Bang Theory, it sounded so ridiculous. How could you believe in such a dumb theory, evolution? But then we believe that we're on a round ball spinning through space infinitely. It's just as dumb.
And we believe in 9/11 was a terrorist attack. We believe we landed on the moon. I mean, we believe what they tell us, which is stupid, because to get away with doing what you want and keeping money requires lies constantly. And all our news that comes through us goes straight through the Pentagon first. The Pentagon decides what they're allowed to talk to on the networks. That's why most people, if they want any halfway true news, you have to go somewhat to the internet, but then you got sketchy stuff going that way as well.
You went straight up conspiracy on me.
Yeah, but I would say this: it takes, to me, more faith to believe in the Big Bang Theory than it does to believe in God. Because if you believe that all this gorgeous stuff came from nothing, that's a lot of faith.
What good comes from an explosion anywhere else? Nothing. Like, you can't explode something and all of a sudden all this greatness happens. This is the dumbest crap I ever heard.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, explosion of power. And I would say that's what on the Shroud of Turin, that was the clothing left over Jesus. They say that the shadow that was left in that they can't recreate, and that it had to come from some kind of like crazy Big Bang type energy to have burnt an image into the clothing like that.
Yeah.
And so if you want to believe in Big Bang, then where did the Big Bang come from?
Mm-hmm.
God made the Big Bang, if that's the truth. It had to come from somewhere.